Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva naram saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttama bhaktit bhavati nestiki. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjanachalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamadam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha. Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sadivam. Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam. Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we're going to start chapter 8.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Putti, youngest student ever in a Bhagavatam class, apart from Sukadeva Goswami. Okay, let's start. So this is the, very famous prayers by Queen Kunti. So nice. So this will take some time, this chapter, but it's, yeah. Sutuvacha अतत्ते सम्परेतानां स्वानां मुदकमिच्छतां दातुं सकृष्णा गङ्गायां पुरस्कृत्य ययुः स्त्रियः. Suta Goswami said, thereafter the Pandavas, desiring to deliver water to the dead relatives who had desired it, went to the Ganges with Draupadi. The ladies walked in front. So nothing usual custom, Prabhupada is saying. ते निनीयोदकं सर्वे विलप्य च पृशं पुनः आप्लुता हरिपादाब्ज रजः पूतः सरिज्जले. Having lamented over them and sufficiently offered Ganges water, they bathed in the Ganges, whose water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. So this how Ganga came down to this material world. You all know. So this is the pastime of Vaman Dev. So when we come to that, we will hear about how Ganga appeared. So because she touched the lotus feet of the Lord, so she sanctifies all the three worlds. Yeah. Tatrasinam kurupatim dhritarashtram sahanujam gandharim putra shokartam pratham krishnam cha madhavaha. There sat the king of Kurus, Maharaja Yudhishthira, along with his younger brothers, and Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti, and Draupadi, all overwhelmed with grief. Lord Krishna was also there. A position of the Pandavas, so nice. Whatever they're in happiness or distress, Krishna is there with them. This is our position also, if we have the faith that Krishna is with us. Santvayam asamunibhir hatabandhun sucharpitan bhuteshu kalasya gatim darshayan pratikriyam. Citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and the reactions upon living beings, Lord Sri Krishna and the Munis began to pacify those who were shocked and affected. Purport. Prabhupada says the Lord makes all the laws and orders, and these laws and orders are generally called dharma or religion. No one can create any religious formula. Bona fide religion is to abide by the orders of the Lord. Dharmam tu sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. The Lord's orders are clearly declared in the Bhagavad Gita. Everyone should follow him only or his orders, and that will make all happy, both materially and spiritually. So this is important. So which means that we have to clearly read Bhagavad Gita, instructions of Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita is actually not that simple, though it's called ABCD of spiritual life. Bhagavad Gita is not simple in the way it has been spoken, in the flow of the verses, and why Krishna is speaking something at a particular point of time. If we go into analysis of all this, sometimes it can be pretty confusing. And so, we have to read Prabhupada's purports multiple times so that we are clear what is being mentioned in each verse. Because see, we understand that actually Bhagavad Gita, different acharyas have given different meanings. For example, Baladev Vidyabhushan, his commentary says karma yoga, like karma, so he's focusing on karma yoga. But Prabhupada, in across all verses, he just everything is bhakti yoga in Prabhupada's purports, right? So sometimes one can get bewildered, saying that what is this verse is saying something else. If you actually see the Sanskrit, it might be saying something else, but translation seems different. So that is because each acharya has a mood, and according to that mood, the verses of Bhagavad Gita, it's not misinterpreting, but it's just the bhava of how the acharya wants to see these verses. So it is important that we read Bhagavad Gita purports by Prabhupada. Otherwise, not just purports, translation and purports, because translation is also different by different acharyas. And then we should understand that our acharya wants us to follow, understand Bhagavad Gita in this way, and it is also still bona fide. So we have to follow orders as per what we understand from Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, not from any other acharya. So which means that we have to first understand Bhagavad Gita as it is, what Srila Prabhupada has given, and then we should apply those in our life. By cultivating spiritual knowledge, we can realize that we have nothing to do with all this material paraphernalia. So Prabhupada makes such statements. So what we can understand, if we still have something to do with material paraphernalia, then which means that we have not cultivated spiritual knowledge. Converse, right? Because by cultivating spiritual knowledge, one can realize that we have nothing to do with this material paraphernalia. Then at once we become free from material attachment. So if you still have material attachment, that means we have not cultivated spiritual knowledge. We are in the process. This clearance of the misgivings at once take place. This is the most important part. This clearance means this becoming free from material attachment. At once takes place by association with the Lord's devotees. How? Not by, physical proximity, being with them. Not by that, right? By how? Who are able to inject the transcendental sound into the depth of the bewildered heart. So this injection is very important. And thus make one practically liberated from all lamentation and illusion. See, one powerful statement, super loaded statement. So first of all, we should understand that when we associate with Lord's devotees, so many devotees are wanting to get initiated, etc. Right now, what are the criteria? When first, that is why it is said that so first thing is we have to we have to hear from the different spiritual masters. Why? Because their words should inject the transcendental sound that should get injected into the depth of our bewildered heart and then pull us out. This clearance has to happen when we hear. So we don't hear for entertainment. We hear for purification. So our bewildered heart, it has to go into the depth. That means that it has to act on us. It has to transform us. Because when we hear from such devotees, then it makes one practically liberated from all lamentation and illusion. Practically means like we will not come under the sway of lamentation and illusion, because we will understand our position clearly because the transcendental sound has entered our heart. So this is very, very important when we hear, and that is why this process of accepting a guru is not sentimental. So one can argue saying that Prabhupada is Siksha Guru. So already this is all Prabhupada's words. These words actually, if you heard properly, they themselves will go into the depth of our hearts and do the work. But we don't do this, we don't study Prabhupada's books. So then we will require a guru who will help us understand Prabhupada's books, or who holds a stick so that we can read Prabhupada's books. Ultimately to understand what he is saying. But I faced this challenge for a long time, wherein, I did not get any help in trying to understand Prabhupada's books. Everybody is speaking different things, but I want to understand what Prabhupada is saying in the purport. So these things are very, very important. We have to understand what Prabhupada is saying in the purport. Many times, even Bhagavatam classes, devotees speak on something. They don't address what is there in the purport. We have to address whatever is there in the purport. And then we can connect other topics to this. Right? So this is association. This Shravanam by which the bewildered heart is cleared that is the association. That kind of association is required. So this is very, very important. Please hear for purification, for clearing of the heart. Right? So, and when you hear from somebody and you're able to connect, you're able to feel the difference, you're able to hear, and it's impacting you, you're changing your ways, your thoughts, etc. That means that he is the person who will take you back to Godhead. Right? That is why Shravanam is very, very important. I humbly request everybody who is not initiated, don't blindly accept a guru. Right? It's a eternal relationship, and that connection has to be experienced by Shravanam, not by seeing the person. Not by seeing the person. Okay. So Prabhupada is long purport. But yeah, most of the things we have discussed. Sadayitva jata shatro swam rajyam kitavairhritam घातयित्वा सतो राज्ञः kachasparsha The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthira, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhana were killed by him. Others also died, their duration of life having decreased for their rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi. So very important purport. In the glorious days or before the advent of the age of Kali, the Brahmanas, cows, women, children, and old men, meaning old people, were properly given protection. Brahmanas, cows, women, children, old people. Why? Or what did it achieve? The protection of Brahmanas maintains the institution of Varna and Ashrama. the most scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. Most scientific culture, culture meaning what will help us attain, way of life that will help us attain spiritual life. Most scientific, Varna and Ashrama. So Brahmanas have to be protected. That is why Prabhupada said that ISKCON is to actually create Brahmanas, because there are no real Brahmanas today in society. So Brahmanas have to be created so that Varnashrama system is maintained and protected. Cows, protection of cows maintains the most miraculous form of food, milk, for maintaining the finer tissues of the brain, for understanding higher aims of life. So this we have heard. Protection of women maintains the chastity of society, by which we get a good generation for peace, tranquility, and progress of life. Chastity of society. So women have to be protected. So this is a major, like mission one must have, is to transform the women of today. Mm, Not only women, right? Men also, but women have lot greater power or influence on the way the society will move, right? So it's a very big responsibility, and at the same time, mm, influence that women can have on the society. See, because here all these brahmanas, cows, women, children, old people. In fact, most of these can be influenced by women. If women are protected, then children get protected, then old people are protected, cows are protected, right? So it's so central, actually, the whole concept of protection of women, maintaining the chastity of society, and thereby influencing how the whole society progresses, life of the society, right? How, in what direction they go is under the control or under the influence of women. Production of children gives the human form of life its best chance to prepare the way of liberty from material bondage. Such production begins from the very day of begetting a child by the purificatory process of Garbhadan Samskara. Again, comes down to protection of women. The protection of old men gives them a chance to prepare themselves for better life after death. So these are the reasons why these 5 sections of the society have to be protected. Today people don't want this protection. Cows are not being protected, brahmanas don't exist, women don't want protection, children are not getting protected because garbhadana samskara is not there, and old people are not bothered because they are all, everybody's self-centered in their own life. Nobody has time for old people. So obviously Kali Yuga is inglorious. To insult a chaste woman means to bring about disaster in the duration of life. Dushasana, brother of Duryodhana, insulted Draupadi, an ideal chaste lady, and therefore the miscreants died untimely. Untimely. So there's something also like untimely death. Not everything is predetermined in that sense. Some people can die untimely if they end up doing things which will, which don't allow them to live further. So the laws of karma seem very stringent. Right. So this protection of these 5, so we have to keep it in mind, and in our own ways, we have to try and provide this framework for protection. So because of that rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi, they died untimely. That's what Prabhupada said. याजयित्वाश्वमेधस्मेधैस्तं त्रिभिरुत्तमकल्पकैः तद्यशः पावनं दिक्षु शतमन्योरिवातनोत्. Lord Sri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashwamedha yagnas to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhishthir, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. So here, very nice purport. Lord is equal to everyone, but a devotee of the Lord is more glorified because he's always in touch with the All Great. So Prabhupada always says this, saying Lord is equal, but he is partial to his devotee. So devotee of the Lord is more glorified. Why? Here, Yudhishthir Maharaj had done only 3 sacrifices, hot sacrifices. Indra had done 100, but he became more famous than Indra. Why? Because Lord is partial to his pure devotees. Hmm. The sun rays are equally distributed, but still there are some places which are always dark. This is not due to the sun, but the receptive power. Similarly, those who are cent percent devotees of the Lord get the full-fledged mercy of the Lord, which is always equally distributed everywhere. So we should never think, oh, I am not getting mercy. It is just depends on our receptive power. This is very important, right? Many times we disqualify ourselves by saying, oh, no, 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 I am not qualified, this, that, and all that. And basically, we don't get the mercy. That is because when in our mind we think, oh, I don't deserve this, then we don't get the mercy. That is why, we should think, yeah, I don't deserve it, but I still want the mercy. So that receptive power, that is what determines how much mercy each of us gets. Because mercy is being distributed everywhere. So that's why Prabhupada is saying those who are cent percent devotees. 10% devotees means what? Like there are people who are 10% devotees, 20% devotees, weekend temple devotees, meaning they're devotees only when they come to the temple on the weekend. So all kinds of combinations. But they are not going to get full-fledged mercy. 10% devotees because all the times, 100% of the times, they're Krishna conscious and they're ready to receive the mercy at all times. So they get full-fledged mercy, full-fledged, full mercy. आमन्त्र्य पाण्डुपुत्रांश्च सैन्ययोद्धव संयुतः द्वैपायनादिभिर्विप्रैः पूजितप्रतिपूजितः. Lord Shri Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited the sons of Pandu after having been worshipped by the Brahmanas, headed by Srila Vyasadeva. The Lord also reciprocated greetings. So Krishna is preparing to leave. Gantum Kratamatir Brahman Dvarakam Rathamaastitah Upalebhe Vidhavantim Uttaram Bhaya Vifalam. As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwaraka, he saw Uttara hurrying toward him in fear. All the members of the family of the Pandavas were completely dependent on the protection of the Lord. And therefore, the Lord protected all of them in all circumstances. What do we understand from this statement? Can somebody explain? Somebody wants to try? It's a pretty simple statement.
Just because of the fear the Pandavas had on Krishna, because of the trust, the complete trust, Krishna was with them.
Okay. Okay, anybody else wants to say anything?
Pandavas being completely dependent on Krishna. So, I mean, that is one of the reasons why there was also the protection from the Lord.
Okay.
Krishna is more devoted to his devotees.
Okay. See, the key thing here is first is complete dependence. Is like a child. So there is no rational here. Is there any rational here? Is there any question of qualification here? No, there's no rational. Which means what? Like I keep saying, right? When we think, we have to just think, yes, I am completely dependent on the protection of the Lord. So Lord is going to protect me in all circumstances. This is faith. And when we have this faith that the Lord just protect me in all circumstances, the Lord protects us in all circumstances. See, this is the beauty about Krishna consciousness, right? Like there is no logic, as in the sense, there's no qualification. Am I ready for this? I'm not, such a senior devotee. This, that, we can give so many, reasons. But all that is required to get Krishna's protection in all circumstances is to just believe that he will give the protection. And we should be completely dependent. That is another criteria, because if you are not completely dependent, then what will we do? So can somebody explain also, what does this complete dependence mean?
Total surrender.
No. I want in like practical. Give an example of what complete dependence means.
Not having our own plans about how we can like do things and depending
Not
on
having
Krishna.
our own. Okay, not having our own plans.
They were, Prabhuji, they were struggling actually, all Pandavas. So, and Krishna was helping them. Yeah, that's
No. So my question is, what does this complete dependence mean? Give me an example and help me understand what complete dependence means.
they don't
Just
know
like
how they will go ahead.
They don't know how they'll go ahead. Okay. I want to clarify these things. Okay. Somebody else.
Prabhuji, they were wholly and solely dependent on Krishna.
नहीं
Like,
उसका मतलब क्या है? What does it mean?
like a child, a small child, a baby is like dependent on his mother. Like he knows that when I'll cry, mother will know I want milk or whatever is my desire. Mother understands. So
Okay,
like a
so
child is dependent on the mother. So the Pandavas were fully like surrendered also, and they had no other shelter besides Lord Krishna. So,
see, just think about before you answer, right? Think about the position of Pandavas. Think about the position of Pandavas. Pandavas were not like small children, isn't it?
right.
Pandavas had all the capability that one could possess in this material world in as Kshatriyas, right?
Yes.
So what does their complete dependence mean?
just like Draupadi just left her hand, just like
Okay.
she had faith in Krishna, just like that.
See, complete dependence means that we use whatever abilities Krishna has given us, but we understand that it is not our action that is going to help in whatever we are trying to do. Right? So we are just saying, okay, I am put in this position. This is my duty to try. And this is what ability Krishna has given. I will use my intelligence, but I will depend on Krishna. In Krishna, if you wish, let this happen. Right? So that is complete dependence. Complete dependence doesn't mean that we stop using our brains. So for example, right, see what we do normally is whenever there is a situation in our life, pure devotees, first thing that comes to their mind is Krishna. First thing that comes to their mind is Krishna. Then, okay, what should I do? How do I go about this? What do we do? We'll first think about, oh, what should I do to solve this problem? Then if it is going above my head, right, beyond my ability to deal with it, then we'll say, oh, Krishna, please help me. So this is not complete dependence. This is dependence on our ability. But what pure devotees do is complete dependence, which means that first they bring Krishna into their mind. Then they say, okay, Krishna has given me some ability. Let me try. If that's going to help. But they know that they have the faith that Krishna is going to protect. Because whatever I do, finally everything is under his control. So they're completely dependent, but they're not like putting, like hand on hand and just like waiting for something to happen. No. They'll think about Krishna, then they'll do whatever they need to possibly do, but they will have firm faith that it's not my action which is going to help me. It's just finally Krishna. And then the Lord protects such devotees. If we think I will protect myself, Krishna will say, okay. If we think Krishna, no, I will try, but you only have to protect me. Krishna will say, okay. See, Lord protects everyone, but one who depends completely upon him is especially looked after by the Lord. The father is more attentive to the little son who is exclusively dependent on the father, exclusively. So we are not dependent on our ability. We are not dependent on demigods. We are not dependent on other people. We are exclusively dependent on the father, but that doesn't mean that we don't put effort. We don't think, right? But we know that we are nothing, that I'm nobody. So it's not because of false ego that we will act. We will act with the complete understanding that I am just insignificant nothing in this creation. And Krishna can only protect. And this mood we can adopt because we are literally nothing, right? But Pandavas were not literally nothing. Still they were adopting this mood of saying that no, nothing, it's not in our hands, it's Krishna's will. So see, the greatness about Pandavas is that they were so great, yet so surrendered. Right? And just imagine if suppose say Krishna gives us some ability, for example, whatever, right? I mean, somebody can do nice kirtan, somebody can. So whatever abilities Krishna gives, suddenly we'll start, we may, I mean, I used to experience this a lot initially. I used to think, I gave a class, somebody came and said, oh, wonderful class. I said, oh, wow, okay. I gave a wonderful class. So then I slowly started realizing, saying that it's not me. It's not my effort. It's not my capability. I might put an effort to prepare for a class, but actually what finally happens there is the mercy of the Lord. So that is why before giving a class, if you are not in prayerful mood, then our class goes all over the place and it doesn't make the required impact. So we are completely dependent. Krishna, make me speak whatever you want me to speak. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, if somebody used to come and tell him saying, Maharaj, please come for a program. It's at this time. Maharaj will say, yes, Krishna willing. Complete dependence. Complete dependence. Yes, Krishna willing. So we should not try to be independent in our thought process. We should not try to think independent of Krishna. We should think, but we should not think independent. And when we like that completely depend on Krishna, right? Saying that Krishna, it's only up to you. It's not my ability. Then Krishna will protect. Like a child is dependent on the father. Child might do something like childish play. For the father, it is childish play. Right? But he says, no, my father is there, he'll take care. Child might have done some nonsense. So it's okay, but the father is there to protect. Right? So this is complete dependence means that as soon as any situation arises in our life, we have to first bring Krishna into the picture. Are we happy, Krishna? Are we sad, Krishna? Are we in anxiety, Krishna? Are we troubled, Krishna? That is why Prabhupada said, keep chanting all the time, because automatically then Krishna will come into the mind. So this is very, very nice. And this is faith. This is faith. If you think that Krishna protects, Krishna will protect. If you think that no, Krishna will not protect, Krishna will not protect. It's just the faith. So there are two aspects here in this statement, right? One is our complete dependence, which means that first Krishna has to come into our mind, dependence on Krishna, then our ability, and so we are always dependent on Krishna. This is one aspect. Second is faith that Krishna will protect. And for those who have that exclusive faith, Krishna will protect. Irrespective of whether we are qualified, we deserve it, we don't deserve it, etc. Right, so I think it's already 9:05, so we'll stop here. If anybody has any questions, you can ask. Any clarifications on the last verse? Is it clear?
Prabhu, one question.
Hmm.
So, with respect to the statement, what was there, like completely dependent, is more aligned towards we completely surrender in the spiritual aspect, right? So, when it comes to material aspect, there is so much of I have to do kind of a thing. How much can we let go, saying that okay, things will fall into place by itself and I should not worry too much on it. So the reason is, Prabhu, over here, how I'm seeing it is in spiritual aspect, it is Krishna, right? And then in material aspect, can I leave it saying that Krishna, I will depend on you and then you take care of it? Is that right? While you did mention that we need to use our intelligence. So how do we draw that line between both sides?
Okay, anybody wants to attempt to answer this? Okay, so Vamshi Prabhu, first thing is that we don't have a material and spiritual life. There is no separation. This is where it all starts, right? Most people, we have this feeling saying that I have a material life and a spiritual life. What is material life? And what is spiritual life? How do we define material life? How do we define spiritual life?
How I'm seeing it is material life is basically whatever we do for family, right? And working. So I'm just trying to consider those as material duties which we may have to do since we are in this world.
No, but why are those material? Why are those not spiritual?
When we think, Prabhuji, everything belongs to Krishna, then it's spiritual.
Yeah, when we look at, not just think, it will literally also be. For example, if the house is, if there are devotees in the house and we are earning money to just take care of the needs of the family members without desire for sense gratification, this is bhakti. Then there is no material life. For a sincere devotee, there is no material life. For a sincere devotee, there is only one life, which is spiritual life. So whatever he or she is doing is, that is why, because his or her consciousness is very clearly, this is for Krishna, this is to please Krishna, this is not for sense gratification. Then anything that that devotee does, whether it is directly connected with bhakti or whether it is directly connected with the world around, this same mindset has to be used. I have an ability, I will try, but Krishna, I'm depending on you. Whether material, so-called material or spiritual, it is the same mood. This is the mood. This is how we have to live life. See, most of these purports are actually for merging this, these two viewpoints, thinking that there's a material life, there's a spiritual life. We have to stop looking at our life like that. That's why I said, somebody is a Sunday 9 to 12 or 9 to 2 devotee, or whatever, 10:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. devotee. Because after that, he has absolutely no connection with Krishna. He has no chanting. He's not doing any devotional practice. His life is like a karmi. Those people have a separation. Actually, in fact, there's no separation. They don't have anything like spiritual life because that's really tiny. So they are just karmis and they have a spirit, they have a material life. But for those devotees who are practicing sadhana and learning and trying to who want to become pure devotees. If we want to become pure devotees, then everything that we are doing has to be pure. And in that conception of purity, there is nothing like material life and spiritual life, because everything is for the pleasure of Krishna. Then this complete dependence absolutely holds true. That's how we need to live life. In fact, Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, Krishna says, in case, Arjuna, you forget me and you still live your material life, you will be lost. Material life in the way you defined it, Vamshi Prabhu, Krishna is saying you will be lost. So Krishna gave the whole Bhagavad Gita to actually make us understand that we have to depend on him first for karma. Second, we have to offer the result to him. Third, we have to come to bhakti. These are the three messages only in Bhagavad Gita for grihasthas. Right? So this absolutely is intended to teach us how we have to deal with our day-to-day dealings with this world. That okay?
Understood, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Anybody else has anything else to ask? Please read these purports. I don't know how many of you are reading Bhagavatam. Please read Prabhupada's purports. I mean, and many of these statements are like so thought-provoking that just, we get stuck. Just this simple word, one word should, we should just get stuck. Complete dependence. Till we are able to understand what this complete dependence means, we should not be able to proceed further. And Prabhupada's statements are like that. And then, this is what I used to do. I mean, and I hear something like this, then wait, what does complete dependence mean? Then keep searching. Wherever you're reading dependence, then I go to Vedabase and then say protection, dependence. And then I start seeing all the various statements that Prabhupada has made in various purports. And then try to build a holistic understanding of what this means. And then, of course, other classes, etc., right? But slowly that concept builds. So basically, complete dependence means no false ego. Because I'm a servant. When I'm a servant naturally depends on the master. That kind of complete dependence. But the servant also has to do his work. So I will try. Okay. So we'll stop here. And we'll meet next Sunday, Krishna willing. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitana bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Koti Vaishnavavrinda ki jai. Jagat Guru Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.